Thank you very much indeed, President. The Lachin Corridor is a strip of territory about 5 kilometers in width, which connects 65 kilometers of the Armenian border with the territory known as Nagorno-Karabakh, or Artsakh by Armenia, and Karabakh by Azerbaijan. It is a strategic location that was the subject to special provisions during the negotiations that followed the fighting in 2020. The tripartite agreement of the 9th of November 2020 laid down in its Article 6 the obligation for Azerbaijan, which had control of this location, to, and I quote, guarantee the security of persons and vehicles moving in both directions. A blockade of this territory began on the 12th of December last year when Azerbaijani nationals blocked the only road connecting this territory inhabited by some 120,000 Armenians to Armenia, a vital road for this population. The blockade is located in an area that is under the responsibility of the Russian peacekeeping mission. In preparing this intervention, in addition to explanatory letters from both sides, I've relied on the text of a decision handed down by the European Court of Human Rights, which decided on the 21st of December 2022 to take interim measures, asking the government of Azerbaijan to take all measures at their disposal to ensure free passage through the Lachin Corridor for persons seriously ill and in need of medical treatment in Armenia, or for persons stranded on the road without shelter or means of subsistence. The issue at the root of the situation, according to Mr. Saidov's letter sent to me, is the Azerbaijani government's formal request in early December to halt the allegedly illegal mining in Nagorno-Karabakh, which is causing environmental damage. This request by the Azeri government has reportedly been ignored, and according to Mr. Saidov's letter, this has caused legitimate indignation among Azeri environmentalists who, since the 12th of December 2022, have been staging, according to him, a peaceful demonstration spontaneously to prevent the use of this road for improper purposes. In the term improper, the Azeri delegation also includes the sending of ammunition and mines to Karabakh by the Armenians. The Azeri side denies all accusations that the road is completely blocked. Medical vehicles, according to them, pass through without any problem, as do 40 to 50 vehicles a day in both directions, transporting food and other essential goods. According to this, therefore, basic humanitarian needs are being met. The situation, however, would seem to be profoundly different according to the information provided to us by the Armenian camp, which considers that there's a real blockade organized by pseudo-demonstrators using mining as a pretext. According to them, everything has been orchestrated by the Baku authorities. According to their version, the Azerbaijani government has blocked the daily import of several hundred tons of essential goods, including basic necessities, food, medicines such as insulin, fuel, products regularly imported into Karabakh from Armenia. The situation is reportedly serious and the humanitarian crisis is worsening daily. The work of social services and access to healthcare are reportedly hampered by the lack of resources, with the most vulnerable, young and old people being put at risk and human suffering becoming more widespread. The shortage of food and other goods is becoming more and more noticeable, with the appearance of ration coupons. In addition, during these cold winter months, there are reports of temporary cuts in gas and electricity supplies, seriously exacerbating the situation of the populations concerned. Thousands of children are being deprived of their right to education. Their schools are being closed down because they have no heating. More than 1,000 people are reportedly blocked along this road, unable to return home. In addition, hundreds of children have been separated from their families. There are reports of disruptions in access to telecommunications and the internet. At times, the population of Nagorno-Karabakh is said to be cut off from all communication with the outside world. According to the Armenians, the corridor is still closed today, with only a few International Red Cross vehicles allowed to transport a limited number of very sick patients to Armenia. For the Armenians, this is therefore a clear violation of the tripartite peace agreement of the 9th of November 2020, which is supposed to ensure full freedom of movement of citizens, vehicles and goods between Armenia and Karabakh through the Lachin Corridor. It should be noted that the responsibility for the implementation of this agreement would normally rest with the Russian peacekeeping forces, who have reportedly remained completely passive in the face of this situation. So there are two versions, as always diametrically opposed. We're used to this. But there seems to have been, and there probably still is, a blockade of the Lachin Corridor. In addition to the clear position adopted by the European Court of Human Rights on the 21st December last year, which I've already mentioned, and a number of international interventions have occurred. The blockade was raised in the United Nations Security Council on the 20th December 2022, with clear statements made by representatives from France, the UK, China, Russia, Ireland, India, Brazil and Norway. The message from these different countries was unanimous: the reopening of the corridor to avoid an escalation of the situation and a humanitarian crisis. We should also note, among many others, the statement of the 16th of December made by the spokesperson of the United States State Department to express concern about the closure of the corridor, which could have serious humanitarian consequences and cause Azerbaijan to restore free movement in the Lachin corridor. Finally, on the 19th of January, the European Parliament adopted a resolution on the violation of human rights in Nagorno-Karabakh, calling for the lifting of the blockade, the setting up of a UN and OSCE humanitarian inquiry, and denouncing the inaction of the Russian peacekeeping forces. The entire international community has therefore been mobilized on this issue with a unanimous position. So the aim today, the hope that we can express, is for there to be an immediate normalization of the situation, with effective measures taken to restore the possibilities of movement in the Lachin corridor and to resolve as quickly as possible the problems of food supplies, medicine and energy supply, and to thus avoid a humanitarian drama. The ball is in the court of the Azeri authorities. And there are two possibilities for them. Either they immediately provide proof of the falsity of the allegations that have been made, not only by words, but also based on an independent international observation on the spot in the next few days, according to arrangements to be discussed. Ideally, the co-rapporteurs of both countries in dispute should be allowed access to the corridor, or they proceed without delay and lift the existing blockade. It would certainly be very problematic to find out that this situation has caused a humanitarian tragedy. If that were to happen, the Azerbaijani authorities would then have to answer for it. Thank you very much indeed for your attention.